outpouring of grief over the death of Queen Elizabeth II can be seen around the Commonwealth, but most mourners are grieving a woman that they never actually met. To explore this phenomenon, I'm joined now live by psychotherapist Lucy Beresford. We are certainly, many people in the UK and in places around the world, grieving somebody who, and those watching this show today will say, why do we feel like we do when we knew this one, we felt like we knew this one, but we never met her?
We never met her, and we also didn't really know what she thought about most things. But she was this constant presence in our life, and certainly in this country she was also on the coinage, she was on stamps, there were posters of her, and we had stories about her in the media all the time. So we felt we knew her, and she was this sense of continuity. Unfortunately, we had this sense for maybe several months that the end was coming. But it still doesn't necessarily prepare you for the fact that the end has now actually happened. So that sense of dislocation, that sense of loss is very real and very palpable. As you say, nevertheless, very few people had actually met her.
Why are rituals so important in grief?
What happens with grief is you're dealing with the unknown and you're dealing with a change, a rupture often. Rituals really anchor you and they give you that sense of continuity and repetition. We know from childhood how important repetition is. Little children say, oh, tell me that story again. We love to hear things that we've heard before. So if we know that there are certain hymns, or if we know that things happen in a certain way, it anchors us, it stabilizes us during a period of flux and uncertainty.
I also think there may, in many households here and around the world, be a sense of confusion. Some people feeling, a real sense of grief. Others trying to cope with the fact that they may not be monarchists. They may not believe that the royal family has a role in their lives, but they still have this sense of grief. And there may be arguments in households about how people should be feeling. What's your advice?
Certainly, I think you have to have a lot of compassion, both for yourself, because you might have been quite surprised by your feelings over the last 48 hours. It might have taken you by surprise, but also to recognise that grief happens differently for different people. Some people like to show it, some people like to talk it out, some people like to weep. It's all okay, and therefore just because you're doing it differently to someone else, or perhaps you're not even feeling anything at all, this is a remote person, you don't really connect, just recognise that other people are going through a very authentic emotional experience, and to at least have compassion for that, even if you yourself don't share it.
Are there echoes in what you are witnessing now to what happened back in 1997 when Princess Diana died?
Well, there are certainly some echoes, but of course what happened around Diana was that the massive shock of something happening out of the blue as a result of an accident really changed the way in which people reacted, whereas with this, it's been prefigured for so long. I remember reviewing the papers back in November when it was announced that she wouldn't be taking part in the Remembrance Sunday service. We've had hints that actually something like this would inevitably happen. She's 96 after all. But I think what did change after Diana's death was a sense that it was okay, particularly in the UK, which had this reputation for being a little bit buttoned up and a stiff upper lip, that it was okay to show your emotion, that it was okay to acknowledge that you were maybe hurting or that you were confused or that maybe you were very angry, because obviously there are different stages of grief, and one of those can often be anger. Why has this happened? Why am I now thrust into this new world, this new way of operating? So just take that time to recognise that all emotion needs to be acknowledged. It can't be suppressed. If it's suppressed, it's not really healthy. And Diana helped us through that.
You will have heard the slightly off-mic comments between the now King Charles III and the new Prime Minister Liz Truss yesterday, when he described this as a moment that he had dreaded.
I thought that was really telling, because anybody who's had a parent will know that at some point that parent will leave them, and you never know how you will react. How will I react when I hear the news? How will I survive without them? And the anticipation of an event is often far worse than the actual experience. So I can understand that for a long time he has thought, what is this going to be like? And of course, for King Charles, it isn't just the loss of the mother, but it's also the fact that he will then immediately become this person who has to lead the nation. So he's got that extra responsibility all the while he's trying to grieve something.
And the fear of the unknown, let's be quite frank.
And that's going to be affecting all of us. My sense is that there's quite a lot of dislocation, which was soothed quite a lot by King Charles's speech last night. In the interim, there was a sense of what's going to happen next. And suddenly there he was on our television saying, no, order is restored. I'm the king. I'm here for you. I'm grieving, but I'm also here. It's that continuity, the way in which the monarchy just seamlessly transitions to the next person, that's going to be so helpful for the nation and for other countries that have him as their head of state.
It's good to have you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, psychotherapist Lucy Beresford.